Tonight, for my final point, I want to make one thing very clear. Calling for acts of violence in a free country in order to further your own political goals, your own political agendas, or your own political beliefs, or calling for acts of violence to exact your own form of vigilante justice is wrong. No ifs, no ands, no buts. There are simply no two ways about it. Calling for acts of violence amounts to calling for domestic terrorism. We in America, we live in a representative republic. Our rights and our liberties are guaranteed by a constitution. When our rights are violated, we have a system of justice where we can seek recourse. When there's a political policy that we oppose, we have a system of free elections and self-representation where we can seek recourse. Because of that, even if you put the moral issues aside, there's no excuse for acts of violence. Whether it's the Baltimore riots, the Ferguson riots, altercations perpetrated by the Black Lives Matter movement, or calls for violence against Planned Parenthood, none of that is acceptable, whether or not you agree with the political motives. Calling for acts of violence, supporting acts of violence, participating in acts of violence is an assault on our American values. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. staged the most successful protests that led to one of the most successful movements in the history of our nation. Those protests were not violent. Neither should any others be, short of a revolution in a nation that oppresses their citizens and despises and denies freedom. And that is certainly not the case in the United States of America. And that is my final point. Thank you for tuning in tonight for Tipping Point. I hope you'll join us again tomorrow. And in the meantime, keep up the conversation with me on Twitter at @Liz_Wheeler or on Facebook at facebook.com/official Liz Wheeler. And have a great night.